Hey everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers Postgame, presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games on this 3/11 night. And joining me, it is Broad Street Hockey's own Kelly Hinkle. Charlie O'Connor will be by just a little bit. Really interested to see how much John Tortorella has to say. Just like, yeah, I don't know, man. We suck. I don't know what to tell you. Like, that's that's kind of my take on tonight's game as well. I can't imagine John Tortorella is like
and
really,
that is all
and that exactly. Like, I mean, 5 straight losses, all in regulation, all on this 7-game homestand. The first 5 they have dropped. They haven't scored more than 2 since the first one when they lost 6-3 to Calgary. The offense is nowhere to be found. The goaltending isn't very good. And even when they have, like they did against the Devils, like they did for most of tonight, like play a decent enough defensive game, there's just nothing they can do to like, they have to win by shutout, and considering who the goaltenders are, that's basically impossible. Like once the Sens score 3, I'm like, well, that's it. Like this is not like a race to 4 or 5. It's like, yeah, they have 3, man. What are we gonna do? Lose in overtime? Like that is the best case scenario at this point. Man, this team is, and listen, they need to be. Even Kelly at pregame, you were like, yeah, it behooves them.
I live in reality.
You do. In fact,
if it was like last season where they were still hanging on a little bit, and there's no chance now, so there's no point. But I will say though, like tonight felt more like a perfect tank game than some of these previous ones have felt, because we got solid performances out of a bunch of young guys, which is important. The goaltending
was what it was.
I mean, really, that's what lost the game.
Couple of leaky goals, and honestly, and the inability to finish, because Matvei Michkov could have had 3 assists tonight.
Forster could have had like 5 goals.
Yeah, Forster could have set like a team record in goals in a game. It was close to one of those if Michkov picks up a couple of points.
That
but yeah, like
perfect,
Jamie Drysdale looked good.
Real good.
It would be nice if some of these guys could just finish. I mean, the setup from Michkov and Tippett over to Couturier, and somehow a defenseman just knocks the puck out of the, like, typically Coots in that situation, it's like, oh, he buried it in the pad, he couldn't lift it.
Nope.
He bunted it, and it goes off like the outside of the post. He lifted this one, it was ticketed for the back of the net, and somehow was it Highmore just knocks it out of the air. So
perfectly placed.
Yeah, just kind of one of those games, I guess.
It do be like that sometimes.
Yeah. And that's, listen, when you can't just count on like TK, the one prime age, high-end guy they have, when he's kind of playing the way he is, I think he's really pressing now. It's clearly, the slump is clearly not just, all right, there's something the matter with him. All right, he doesn't have the best line mates. What are you going to do? It's clearly so much in his head that, like, I don't know. I asked you pregame, do you think he rebounds? I hope so, just for his sake. But, it's not looking great now.
It's almost looking
he's
like
getting worse.
Yeah, it's almost looking like he's so far in it now that he's like no longer looking to shoot as much as he used to. Like he seems way more pass first lately than he typically is.
The routes he's taking to the net when he has the puck on the rush. Like there was a few games ago where I was watching with Charlie and we're like, yeah, he passed here on like a 2-on-1, but he didn't really have a lane to shoot. Like it was just, he doesn't really have an angle. I thought the same thing tonight on the 2-on-1. I was actually shocked he got the pass over. It was a really good pass, but he has been so money shooting on the rush these last few years that you just expect him, like, yeah, man, let it rip. You're going to beat the goalie between his glove and his pad.
Right.
And he just isn't there. And whether that is the wrist or shoulder or whatever injury that I've been thinking about for months now, or it's just he doesn't think he can score, so he's not even going to try to rip the shot. It just feels like there's something else the matter with Travis Konecny, whether it's an injury, mental, I don't know, but he's in his own head about it, obviously.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I feel like tonight it was I don't know if I was watching him more closely just because, like you, I kind of expected he would score a birthday goal. Like I really thought it was going to happen. It
just seems like,
But yeah, he seems way more tentative than Travis Konecny should be.
Like that is a guy who doesn't think.
No.
Like that.
You have 2 or 3 brain cells.
Yes.
You have all of the confidence in the world. Like,
yes.
You should just be thinking to yourself every time the puck touches your stick, I'm definitely going to score here.
Some would say the perfect hockey player.
Yes, of course. 100%.
And it just feels as if like a guy who's playing style, like Charlie always says, like his style is chaos. Travis Konecny is a chaos player, whether it's, mixing it up in scrums and, challenging a guy way bigger than him to a fight, just talking trash or ripping shots that are ill-advised sometimes. Yeah. It just seems all of a sudden as if he's thinking about what he's doing and
should never do it.
Travis, don't think it can only hurt the club. Yeah. But you look at the drought now. 9-game goal drought. He had another 9-gamer. It ended 10 games ago. He has 1 goal in his last 19 games. This isn't good. 2 goals in the last 25. It has just really gotten away from Travis Konecny, a season that was so promising. At the 41-game mark, 20 goals.
Yeah.
Here we are, 65 games in or so, and he's got 22. That's rough, man.
So, like, it definitely stinks that this is happening, but also, like, I can't bring myself to, like, be concerned about it until he repeats it next season. Because, like, if there is just a little something nagging him, over the summer it's going to get better and he's going to be fine. But, like, yeah, this has to be just, like, a little bit of a moment in time for him that he's going through it. And if it lasts these next 16 games, whatever, they don't matter. But
honestly, good. Let's get it out of the way.
Exactly. But, next season, far off in the distance, I'm going to need him to pick it right back up and be the Travis Konecny was at the start of this season.
And I do think there is something to, like, the craziest part to me is his ability to pick up the assists and like, that's what leads me to believe. And like, I just don't think he's playing all that well right presently. Mm-hmm. And that's like his assist tonight. He's got assists in back-to-back games, but he went 4 or 5 without any points. Like, it leads me to believe the teammate thing, there is something to it. The line mate especially, because there's no one to get him the puck. And he's turned himself into a little bit more of a facilitator. And maybe that is partly he doesn't want to or can't shoot as effectively right now, whatever it is. But, he gets the assist on the Drysdale goal. He's got assists in back-to-back games. This is 43 assists on the season. I just saw the number, which is 43 assists this year, which is, pretty crazy considering only 2 guys are scoring at any sort of an impressive rate whatsoever, and one of them is him.
Yeah, right.
Or at least it was in the first half.
Right, yeah.
Like, he can't get an assist on his own goals. He and Michkov don't play together all that often, at least, in the last, really since, like, the new year at all. The power play never scores, so it's not like he's picking up cheapies there.
No.
He's somehow finding ways to stay productive. So I don't think I'm, like, concerned about it, but it is like another, man, how cool would it be if we could have a center on this team?
Right.
I like Noah Cates a lot, but if Noah Cates is your answer, you don't have an answer.
Right. That's the thing. Like, we know what Noah Cates is.
Yeah.
Very good 3C.
Yeah.
We need other dudes that aren't him and who aren't Sean Couturier.
Are you at all concerned this carries over? Like, right now, if you had to predict next year, Travis Konecny, 24 goals or 34 goals?
I would bet on Bet365.
There you go.
I would bet several $100 American that there's no way this carries over. He will be completely fine next season. Because I have to believe, like, goal scorers are streaky. We know that. But he, like, dropped off a cliff production-wise. That doesn't just happen out of nowhere. There's gotta be, maybe not an injury per se, but just, like, a little something that's bothering him enough that he can't shoot the puck the way he wants to.
Like, all right, let's say, I think he was shooting like 17% or something in the first half. Let's say there's regression, and then there's 1 goal against a goalie in 25 games.
Right.
Like one of these 2 goals he has is an empty netter.
That's not regression.
Like, that's crash landing.
Yeah.
I can't imagine this is close to what he is. And maybe I'm just being optimistic, but I think it's gonna be fine. It's frustrating right now. It would be cool if he had a little help. I want to see him reunited with Michkov just to see if we can get them both going a little bit. Give each a guy who might be able to finish and give each a guy who might be able to get the other the puck a little bit more consistently. I would love to see that. I don't even know who the hell the center could be. I guess
Rodrigo.
Yeah, Rodrigo. He does have that nice goal in the York assist tonight. I want to talk a little bit about York. But first, let's take a quick second to talk about a couple of our sponsors. Let's lead it off with one of our newest sponsors here at PHLY, Timeline. What is Timeline? Timeline sells health and longevity supplements featuring the proprietary MitoPure ingredient. MitoPure works with the cells in your body to help reverse age-related decline, and benefits include increased strength, energy, and endurance. Maybe TK could use a little Timeline here. They have done 15 plus years of research and secured over 30 U.S. patents for their products. Listen, the cells in our bodies, they're the building blocks of life, and Timeline is a supplement that works with those cells to help give you more energy, feel stronger during workouts, and preserve health and mobility as you start to age. And right now, Timeline is giving you 10% off your order of MitoPure. Go to timeline.com/PHLY today to get started. That's timeline.com/PHLY. Check it out today. Check out this patented MitoPure cell revitalizing product. A lot of people here at PHLY have already started reporting the positive effects that Timeline has had on their life, and you should check it out as well. And while we're here, let's talk about that aforementioned Bet365. It only took about 25 seconds to cash in on one of our 2 bets. Claude Giroux over half a point. Well, he got that assist on the Brady Tkachuk goal on the first shift. Most people hadn't found their seats yet, and the Sens were up 1-0 on a play that looked like a drill demonstration more so than like a competitive 5-on-5 NHL shift, but that's the way it went. Of course, we've already talked about TK failing to score on his birthday, so we went 1 for 2 tonight. But whatever you're doing, wherever you're placing your bets, stop it. And go to Bet365. That's right, because right now we have breaking news from Bet365. New customers can now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5, win or lose. Sign up, use the code PHLY365. Deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, whether your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in PA. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. I actually expected Giroux to have a bigger night after he, comes out and gets the that first assist. I thought so too. Right away. That's one of the things, because I asked you in pregame, like, is it a big deal still? It just didn't feel like it. Like, they mentioned him a few times in the broadcast. He has that nice, like, low to high cross ice pass to set up the goal right away in the first period, and then kind of didn't really hear much from G for the rest of the night. I wonder if it is still, like, a thing. We only have a few guys left. I mean, they traded Lawton.
Yeah.
Was it Sanheim, TK, and Coots? Are those the only ones that even played with him? That can't possibly be.
I also, while you're looking that up, I also think that there's like, it's
Risto, right? Did they play together?
Maybe. It's really easy. So like when he first got to Ottawa, they weren't very good. And I think it's easy to remain fixated on your past when you're playing for a new team that also stinks. But now they're like making a playoff push. Things are turning around. Like he's probably just like focused on that.
Yeah. And like that's I don't even need it to be a big deal for him.
His new girlfriend is prettier.
That's yes. I mean, I hate to say it because listen, the Ottawa Senators are my least favorite team in hockey.
You hate them so much.
That's actually something I wanted to talk to Charlie about that I didn't get a chance on the trade deadline show. I want to know, like, does Lawton there? I know he's a journalist and everything, but he hates the Leafs.
He really does.
He really does. I want to know if this kind of softens his stance on like wanting to see the Leafs just fail miserably.
I doubt it.
I doubt it too.
Charlie's a tough man.
He is a
savage.
He is a certified Leafs hater. All right, let's talk about Cam York. He ended a 7-game point drought tonight. Gets the assist on the Rodrigo goal. Rodrigo Abels scores a goal. Good for him. Cam York, we talked about him in pregame. I want to ask Charlie about him a little later, but the coach basically called him out today. He ends the game. Let's see. What was his time on ice tonight? Cam York, 20-35, third on the blue line. He is -2 despite the assist tonight. Gets 27 shifts, 1 hit, no blocks. I like seeing him activate in the offensive zone. I thought that is something that's really going away. He gets Peltier does a nice play to like kind of keep the possession alive, brings it out to the point, hands it off to York. York takes it down low, centers it to Abels, and it's a pretty basic play. I didn't think it was anything special, but this team generates so little offense from its defense.
Yeah.
And you have to get some. They get basically none.
And that's, I think, what we all expected from Cam York when we drafted him.
You look at the numbers at the development program, and it's, man, he like ran their power play. He was really like he was an offensively oriented defenseman. And if they are going to commit to him long term, I don't know if that's the smartest idea in the world.
It's not.
But if they are, like, yes, there is room for just good defenders. I need you to be like a #1 shutdown guy, if that's going to be the case. There is room for just good defenders. I do not need to give them 8-year deals with like kind of substantial cap hits.
No.
Like that's a depth guy to me. That's not a dude that I'm depending on night in and night out for 20+ minutes, unless they are like Jacob Slavin, you know?
Yeah.
If it's that, sure. But I don't think Cam York is that, at least not yet. I need to see more of this from him. He gets the assist tonight. That's all well and good. I need to see a little bit more before I'm like, oh, yeah, well, my mind's changed. Because, I don't know, I just don't feel it with York still.
No, we as a society lock up too many dudes for 8 years just because we can.
Yeah.
And, like, you don't have to lock up every guy you drafted for 8 years because not all of them are going to be good players for 8 years. I'm not convinced. Now, listen, if he's going to take like an extremely reasonable cap hit, which why would he?
Yeah, if he wants 4.5 for 8 years, cool.
Sure,
but
but why would he do that?
Yeah, that would be silly.
Yeah, that would be fine because then if he's like, a 3-4 defenseman or whatever, like it's fine. Doesn't matter. But I just don't feel confident enough in what I've seen from him to think like, yes, I want this to be a keystone piece of my defense for the next 8 years. 2 or 3, show me. Then we'll lock you up long-term for lots of money. But yeah, I just don't buy it from him, but also hate what John Tortorella is doing to him. I contain multitudes. I
mean, 20 minutes again tonight. It's not as if he's lacking in ice time.
No, but then again, like, there's only 6 dudes. Who's he going to play out there?
No, that's like Emile Andre tonight. Under 16 minutes.
Yeah.
He had 9.5. Like 9:45, I think, in the first 2 periods. Yeah, like as much as we're kind of disappointed in York, there is a point of like, well, he is still one of the 2 or 3 best guys they have, you know?
Right.
I wonder how true that is now with Risto taking, this step in his career that he has at kind of a late age, and now Jamie Drysdale really coming around. Like, I wonder. Like, how many people still see York as like, oh, yeah, it's him and Sanheim. They're the 1 and 2. Absolutely.
No, I feel like, I know we're going to talk about him later, but Drysdale had a very good game tonight. And if Drysdale's trajectory continues through the summertime into next season, the way he's been looking over the last like month and a half, like he could very easily lap Cam York as far as like who our best young defensemen are.
And listen, like Emile Andre is a work in progress. Jamie Drysdale, obviously not a finished product yet, but we are encouraged what we've seen lately. They have told us, like Brent Flair in his interview with Charlie, available at allphly.com. And guess what? we are running a special right now. You can get it for real cheap, way less than usual, $36. Limited time introductory offer. Go to allphly.com to take advantage of this. You get all the benefits of being a diehard. You get access to the Discord. You get a discount on merch and events. Obviously, access to all of our premium content from our all-star cast of writers. You want to check this out right now. Do it. Do it. But one of the things Charlie does every year is a 2-part interview with Brent Flair. And he talks about the forwards in one, the defense and goalies in one, and then the D and goalies one. Brent Flair says, I don't know, like, if we can have a defense that consists of Cam York, Jamie Drysdale, and Emil Andre when we intend to be competing to make playoff runs. They think that's too small of a defense. Well, right now, I am far more inclined, if I have to get rid of one, like, because that's the organizational mindset.
York is the
It's
one.
Cam York.
Yeah.
One, he probably has the most outside value. And two, he's the one I'm least interested in, like, locking up because I don't see the offensive upside. And I know there's more than points, but we need points from somewhere.
And that's what's really weird because, like, if I think about their ceilings, like, obviously Cam York's best case ceiling is much higher than Emil Andre's. One assumes.
At least coming into the year, I think everyone thought that was true.
But I feel like more confident that Emil Andre will turn out to be the best version of himself than I do Cam York.
I think I agree.
Yeah.
I think the way you put that, like, yes. Maybe it's just like we took him in the first round, Cam York, so the expectations are higher.
That's how it works when you're a first round.
Yeah, that's you know, you have, that's always your pedigree. Like, you are, as unfair as it might be, we expect more out of you. And while I guess the expectations are higher, I think I do. But if I had to bet on one of the two reaching whatever their ceiling is, it's Emil Andre right now. And maybe that's just because we've seen less of him. As Charlie always says, the recency bias, we love the shiny new thing. It's not as if Andre has been awesome in this most recent recall. But he is, like, also adjusting. And speaking of Charlie, here he is now. It is Philadelphia's.
Hey!
I had nothing there. I wasn't prepared for you to be joining us. This is Philadelphia's #1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor, coming to us live from the 5th straight loss at the Wells Fargo Center, all in regulation. Chuck, before we do anything else, thoughts on the game? Any quotes from the coach or players?
Yeah, not much in the way of particularly interesting quotes, I would say. The general consensus is about what I would hope that you guys agree, is that they didn't play that bad. They didn't play amazing, but they didn't play that bad. This was the 2nd straight game where, you know, they're probably trending upwards. They're not playing as terribly as they were playing last week when the wheels are falling off. They're not playing well enough, clearly, to get wins. But you look at this game, what are the 2 plays that pretty much turn this game? There is the awful goal that Fedotov allows to Amadio to make it 3-2. And then there is the incredible almost goal, but not quite, that Highmore prevents from Couturier. Now, those happened, so you can't just say, well, if it wasn't for those 2 plays, they would have won, even if that's true. Like, yeah, you know, but they did happen, and they were enormously consequential to the outcome of the game. But we're talking about a goal that should have been stopped, a shot that should have been stopped, I guess is the better way to put it, and then a goal that should have happened. Now, there are probably a ton of alternate universes where both those things go the Flyers' way and the Flyers win this game. This wasn't a game where I look at it and I say, yeah, you know, 96 times out of 100 they lose. This is probably, you know, 55 out of 100 they lose, and they happen to be one of the 55. And does it absolve them? No, but I guess at the very least they're not playing awful anymore.
Yeah, that was kind of that's how we kind of started the show was, listen, I don't think they were, like, horrible tonight. It's just they can't score and they don't get saves. So once Ottawa scores 3, it's kind of over. There's really, like, a race to 3 at this point. They haven't scored more than 2 in 4 straight now. 3 is the high of this homestand. This is just kind of what the offense is until either someone steps up, TK breaks out of it, or Michkov has his first career hat trick. Like, that's kind of just what the offense is at this point. Charlie, I want to talk about Cam York. You and I texted you this afternoon and was like, unless this game is actually interesting, we're going to be talking about Cam York. First, what did you make of John Tortorella's comments? I was trying to pick a fight with him when I sent him down, when I first got here, kind of calling him out today in the media, brushing off the idea of the injury. If it's been going on too long. What did you think of the whole exchange this morning about Cam York?
Well, there was nothing that shocked me about what John Tortorella said, because everything that he said is stuff that he said before about Cam York, about the fact that, he felt like he pushed Cam York and Cam York responded that time when he sent him down, and that that York was trying to prove him wrong, and he loved that. And he's talked about how he's been inconsistent. He hasn't liked his play. He's talked about how, the injury probably hurt him, but it's time for us to stop talking about that because that was 4 months ago. So none of that was new. It wasn't shocking to me at all. What surprised me was what Cam York had to say. Like, to me, that's the story, is that when we interviewed Cam York, look, the part about him saying that he doesn't agree with being scratched, like, that's boilerplate. I expect a player to be like, I think I should play. I think I'm playing better than the coach does, and I disagree. But what was way more interesting to me was the repeated points from York's perspective that the communication between him and Tortorella has not been there, that he hasn't really talked to him, that he doesn't really know what the specific reason for the scratch is, that he believes that he's playing much better than John Tortorella believes. And it's interesting you bring up the question about the point about Tortorella saying that, I pushed him that one time before and it worked. That was probably what inspired the most. Not angry, because if you ever talk to Cam York, he's never angry. He's just like, he's always even keel, but you can sense a little bit of like bristles a little bit. And that's when you can tell like, oh, he's a little bit annoyed. I think it bothers him. And this is just my read. I could be wrong. I think it bothers him when John Tortorella acts like John Tortorella was the reason why Cam York started playing better. And when he heard that, because I think it was Adam Killman of NHL.com presented Tort's comments, he straight up said, like, Tort said that, he pushed you before and he feels like you responded well. Like, do you have kind of that, like, screw you, I'm going to prove you wrong attitude? And York said very bluntly, I play for my teammates in the locker room. I play for the logo on the front of my jersey. I don't play for the coach, if that makes sense. And like, that is I don't think he meant that, like, I don't play for John Tortorella. He obviously plays for him. He obviously listens to him in terms of coaching. But York wanted to make it abundantly clear that, like, he's not giving extra because John Tortorella is pushing his buttons. If he gives extra, it's because he wants to win games for his teammates and he wants to win games for the Philadelphia Flyers. But he wanted to make it abundantly clear that John Tortorella is not the reason why he's playing harder. And that was interesting to me.
So Kelly and I talked about this a lot pregame. And now when you bring up just Cam York's personality, we know that had a lot to do with the lack of connectivity between the coach and Morgan Frost. Do you think that's just part of it? Like, Tortorella doesn't get a guy who isn't screaming in his face about ice time or whatever, and because of that, he's going to continue to needle him until it happens?
Yes, I do think that's part of it. That said, I don't think it matters. Like, does it matter to Torts in the sense that, like, he just doesn't get it when he deals with someone with that personality? Sure, it matters in that sense. It's a foreign concept to him that someone can be intense but have this just like cool demeanor like York does. But I don't think it matters to Torts that it's not there as long as he's seeing the competitiveness on the ice. He's seeing the assertiveness. Like when York was last season seemingly every night trying to do his best impression of Nick Seeler and getting in front of, 6 or 7 shots a game and blocking a ton of shots and moving up and down the ice. I don't think he cared that York still had that California cool vibe. But this year, he sees a guy who he doesn't think is being assertive enough. And then it goes back to, well, he doesn't show the fire when I talk to him, and he doesn't show the fire on the ice either. And then that's what really ticks him off.
Yeah, and that's understandable. Right now, we've heard. Okay, there he is. Right now, we were just talking about your conversation with Brent Flair and the idea of, is the defense big enough and all that. Do you expect Cam York back next year?
I think that I have, like, if you're talking about percentages, I think there's an over 50% chance he's back. Now, do I think there's a better chance that they trade Cam York than they trade Tyson Forrester or Noah Cates or some other, obviously not Matvei Michkov, but like, yeah, out of the young core guys, York, there's probably a better chance they move York than a lot of the other young core guys. But I do think that presenting it as I expect him to be moved. No, I don't expect him to be moved. I do think that there's a higher likelihood that he will be moved than other guys in that age range. But I'm not going into the season figuring like, oh man, they're definitely going to trade Cam York. Like, hey, if a trade pops up and there's a chance for them to acquire a 1C, are they going to be more open to moving Cam York than Tyson Forrester? Yeah, probably. But there's no guarantee that that kind of trade is going to pop up anyway. So I would say I think it's more likely than not he's back. But this tension, at least between York and Torts, it strikes me as real. And you know how big of a voice John Tortorella has in this organization.
Charlie, Travis Konecny on his second 9-game goal drought now in the last 19 games. Figure that one out. He does get the assist on the Drysdale goal, but how would you categorize his game tonight?
I saw some people on Twitter complaining about it. I was like, whatever. It's frustrating because he's not scoring. I didn't think he was noticeably horrible, and I thought the pass to Drysdale was good. I just think it's hurting the Flyers a lot that he's not scoring because he is their best player. He is their best all-around player. And John Tortorella pointed it out after the game because I asked Torts, I was like, look, you mentioned that you guys struggle to score goals. Your roster is not exactly deep right now. How much of this is just the reality of your roster? And his response was, yes, we are not the team we were at the start of the year, but we need more from Travis Konecny. We need more from Owen Tippett. We need more from Tyson Forrester. We need more from Sean Couturier. He's like, there are guys, TK is the big one, that can deliver more at the top of the lineup that we still have who are just not. And TK for him was top of the list, not necessarily because I think he was calling him out, but because it's just like the reality of the situation is Travis Konecny carried the offense for long stretches of the first half. And that's when this team had Farabee and Frost and Lawton. TK was still carrying the offense. Now he really has to carry the offense, and he's really not there. Again, the assists are there. He's making plays with the puck. He's creating goals for his teammates. But Travis Konecny, to be the full version of Travis Konecny, has to be creating goals for himself too, and he's just not.
Do you think it's more mental than physical right now?
I mean, I know you have the theory that it's a physical thing, and Bill, you might be right. You might be right that he's battling with something, but I do think a lot of it is mental at this point. It could be both. It could be a physical thing that then is compounded by the fact that he's stuck in his own head, but I definitely think he's stuck in his own head. This is a guy who, to me, looks very frustrated. And look, Konecny's an emotional guy. It's what you love about him is how much he cares, how much fire he plays with, how he's always in scrums, picking fights with guys 6 inches taller than him. That's why he's such an exciting player. But the emotion can go against him sometimes when he gets frustrated. It was kind of the same thing with Drew. Different things because Drew was a better player than Konecny is now in his prime, but Drew would get frustrated with himself and he would lose himself for a few games here and there, and maybe to a degree that's what's happening to TK at the moment.
So Charlie, we did agree before you got here that the Flyers looked better tonight than they have over the last few games, and given that we me specifically put so much blame on Sam Ersson for the last couple of losses that he started in, would you blame Ivan Fedotov for this loss tonight?
If I was to point the finger at one person, yeah, I would. Because to me, that third goal is the killer. And John Tortorella agreed. He's like, we needed a save on that third goal. Score's tied. You just tied the game. You've got some momentum. You're feeling good about yourself. And then, boom. Not only does he immediately give up a goal, it's a bad one. I mean, that is a low to the ice, not a ton of velocity through the 5-hole. Like, you need a save on that shot. That is a routine save. I'm sorry. And that just kills it for the team. basically for the rest of the second period. Third period, they make a bit of a push. But no, look, do I think Fedotov was horrible in this game? Like, no, I don't think that he was just a sieve that pucks are getting through him every other play. But you need timing saves sometimes. There are moments where you need a save from your goalie, and they didn't get a save from their goalie at a key moment. And I do think that was the biggest reason why they lost the game. Yeah.
Charlie, is it time to start buying Dry Guy the Fly Guy stock?
I mean, I think it would be a great time to purchase a Dry Guy the Fly Guy shirt, which we still have up on allphly.com.
Okay.
All right, let's get to... Actually, first I want to ask just about Giroux real quick. You're in the arena. Is his return still like a thing to people? Does it mean anything to the team when he comes back? Like, there's only so many guys left who were like even teammates with him. I don't know. This felt like we've made a big deal about it in the past, and now it's just it's over, right? Like, I just feel like there's nothing special about it.
This felt a little old hat. And again, like, we in the media didn't make that big of a deal about it either, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't rushing over to Ottawa morning skate to interview Claude Giroux. Like, we've been through this. He's been a non-flyer for a few seasons now. That said, it still was weird, because it's always going to be weird when Giroux makes a great pass to start the game to kick off the game with a goal for the other team. That's odd. It's weird because I've seen him do it so many times wearing orange and black. So it's strange still. But no, it's not like he was getting cheered or booed every time he touched the puck in this game. When they announced him for the starting lineups, there were some people who yelled sucks. Then there were a lot of people who cheered him, but it wasn't universal one way or the other. Look, as you said, a lot of the guys who were on the Flyers team when he was on it are gone. Like, Sean Couturier is still there, sure. You know, Travis Sanheim, Travis Konecny, but like, you know, Scott Lawton was a buddy of Claude Giroux's. He's gone. Joel Farabee, if you remember, Giroux said right before his last game that, like, Joel Farabee's going to break all my records. Well, that didn't work out too well. There's a lot of guys that were key players in the end of the Giroux era. Not even the beginning of the Giroux, the end of the Giroux era, that are gone. There's been a lot more turnover than I think people realize, and it kind of makes it feel like it's not as big of a deal anymore. I think that's part of it.
All right, Charlie. Once again, good luck with this. It's time for Charlie O'Connor's 3 stars of the game, presented by our friends at Rite Aid. That's right, the Rite Aid 3 stars. Charlie, who is star number 3?
Star number 3, so I'm not going to do any Flyers in this game. Jamie Drysdale's the closest, but even he admitted that defensively he had some gaffes that he liked back, so he didn't think it was a complete game for him. Third star of the game, I'm going to give it to Claude Giroux, because, yeah, Brady Tkachuk scores that goal, but that goal's all Giroux. I don't even know if that puck goes in, if Tkachuk doesn't bounce it off of Fedotov's head. Like, that puck might have been going wide. Fedotov kind of had a little bit of an own goal there, but that pass by Giroux, fantastic. Giroux, third star of the game.
Yeah, cash star Giroux over half a point. 25 seconds in. It was great. All right. Star number 2.
Star number 2, I'm going to go with Michael Amadio. Now, look, incredibly weak goal by Ivan Fedotov, to be sure, but somebody's got to score it. And it was Amadio who drives down the ice and puts that puck in a spot where apparently the big old 6'7" Fedotov didn't think to protect. So that was the game winner. That was the big goal of the game. And even if it was helped by a not-so-great goaltending performance on that particular play by Ivan Fedotov, I'm still going to give Michael Amadio credit for it. Second star of the game.
Got to put yourself in position to get lucky. All right, and finally, tonight's first star.
First star of the game is Matthew Highmore. Now, did he score a goal? No. Did he have an assist? No. Did he have a lot of ice time? No, he sure didn't. Only 10 minutes and 28 seconds. But in those 10 minutes and 28 seconds, there was 1 second where somehow he prevented a sure goal from Sean Couturier that would have tied the game. That was such a ridiculous play. I have to give him first star for that one.
The whole league is teaming up to stop Matvei Michkov from just piling up points. He could have had like 5 assists tonight, I swear. All right, Charlie, thank you for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow at 4 o'clock. That's right, an actual regular show tomorrow. Looking forward to that one. Charlie will be with us, but until then, have a great night, Chuck.
Bye, Charlie.
All right. Bye, gang.
All right, that was Charlie O'Connor, and of course, the Rite Aid 3 stars of the game. But now we got to take a quick second to tell you about a couple more of our sponsors. All right, let's lead it off with Ace Hardware, because if you have a leaky pipe or air conditioning issues or that faucet that you said you'd get to like last fall and now it's a year and a half later and you still haven't done it, well, you got to hit up Ace Hardware Home Services, because they have everything you need to get to all your home projects and fix everything in your house, including the person to do the fixing, because now they're not just the helpful hardware folks, they're also the helpful home service and repair folks. From plumbing to heating and cooling, they've got the trusted pros to keep your home humming all year long. At Ace Hardware Home Services, they're bringing the helpful home, the helpful you love from the store, now to your front door. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project today. And while we're here, hey, why not talk about our friends at Rite Aid again? That's right, because you got to get your pneumonia relief at Rite Aid. Help protect yourself from pneumonia. Adults aged 50 and older are not eligible for the vaccine. It used to be 65 plus, but the CDC lowered the age recommendation, and this change of seasons, I know it messes with me. Sometimes you start, oh man, it's just allergies. It'll pass in a day or two. It goes from warm to hot. And then it can fester and turn into something else. Well, protect yourself with the pneumonia vaccine, because millions of people get pneumonia every year. It's a respiratory illness, fall and winter, change of seasons. It's a time when germs that cause respiratory disease typically spread. So get vaccinated. Getting vaccinated is easy. Just walk into your local Rite Aid or schedule online at riteaid.com. And if you're unsure of what vaccines you might need, just ask your pharmacist for a personal recommendation. Stop by your local Rite Aid today. All right. And with that, we get to the Ace Hardware temperature check, Kelly. That's right. Let's take a look at which flyer is heating up or cooling off with our Ace Hardware temp check. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. Got to go with Jamie Drysdale. Goals in back-to-back games. He's got 3 goals. 5 points in his last 11, and his 5th goal of the season sets a new career high, and he is 1 behind Travis Sanheim for the team lead. Just gotta really like what you're seeing out of Drysdale. He does have the bear hug on the breakaway tonight. Stick blows up on the point. What are you supposed to do? I guess you could really turn on the jets and try to get in front of the guy, but other than that, what are you supposed to do? Prevent breakaways. He had to do what he had to do.
It's one of those good penalties.
But he is seeing his, not just coming through, like putting up some points, but we talked about this last game, like the offensive instincts. He had that play the last game where he basically runs the switch with TK, where TK kind of regroups through the neutral zone, and he just takes off, like basically runs a wheel route and gets to what was an area pass. It wasn't exactly on his tape. Gets there and is able to put the puck in the net on a nice move. And tonight, just activating in the offensive zone again. That's what we need to see. Yeah. They need points from the defense from somewhere. Hopefully, he's that guy, because they did, again, trade maybe the highest pick they're going to have during this rebuild for him.
I don't know, Bill. It's looking pretty good for this year.
It's looking good.
I've been thinking, like, remember when he was injured and they kept him out for what seemed like a little bit too long? We were like, what's going on here? Why is he still sitting? I go back to that and I wonder, like,
he did kind of
a lot of tape, doing a lot of stuff with him. Like, I really feel like after he came back from that, it hasn't been like straight up. It's been a little bit up and down. But for the most part, he's looked the best he's ever looked overall.
Considerably better than he did most of last season. And considerably better than the start of this year, when I was really worried about what we were getting out of Jamie Drysdale. And there did seem to be some hinting to the idea that, yeah, I mean, he's hurt. But I think at the end was like, I've been ready to go for a little bit.
Yeah.
I think this was definitely, and you know what? I actually want to credit Torts with this. Instead of burying a young guy and being like, no, he's healthy scratched, you use the injury to kind of maybe extend that time off and do some teaching, do some film work with them, whatever it was. And it appears to be paying dividends. Now, again, there's always no way to know. Like with the Cam York thing Charlie mentioned, and I do want to get your opinion on that in a second. Like he said, like, no, I'm a good player and I played well, and it had nothing to do with him. we could easily say that about Jamie Drysdale. However, he was not trending in this direction before that.
No.
And he seems to have really picked up his game, especially recently. But really, this has been a slow ascension this season to get to this point where we're starting to see it really pay off. He's not just out there, oh, yeah, he played solid tonight. He defended well. It was okay. Now it's, we're starting to see that offensive upside and the reason that we traded Cutter Gauthier for him.
Yeah, I kind of want to talk to Charlie about this on tomorrow's show just because he's so much more connected to the players than you and I are because he's down there every day.
Yeah.
I just wonder, obviously on ice, Cam York needs to be better. Totally understandable. But I do wonder if there might be John Tortorella's tactics, whatever you want to call them, his way of teaching, his dad's going to yell at you until you do it correctly thing that he does, obviously worked for a long time for him. And a lot of players seem to think that they really benefited from that style of coaching. The young guys, the real young guys, seem not they don't seem like the type of people that would, because you have to remember the Timbits and the juniors and all the stuff that they came up in is not the same ones that they came up with before. Everything's a little bit softer now.
No, and that is our Ace Hardware temp check, just so you can cut that off, Bryn, because this conversation's going to keep going.
Yeah.
No, but we were talking during intermission tonight about Shorzy and how the older guys are what do you mean this is you're getting bag skated so you're upset? Yeah, that's just the way my God, I played in horrible South Jersey middle school and high school, and we had coaches, one of my favorite coaches ever benched me for scoring a goal because he told me to stop pinching.
Yeah.
And I did. And he was like, I don't care, you're sitting. I was like, but I scored. He's like, I don't care. And we started yelling at each other. That's the way it was. And it really isn't like that.
Right. And I just think of a guy like Farabee, Cam York, Drysdale seems like this. They just seem like Tippett seems like this. Just quieter, softer people. And I don't know if you're going to get the kind of response from a John Tortorella tough love situation that you would get from a more of a Rod Brindamore encouragement type of coaching style.
A player.
Well, yeah.
A guy who knows that end of it too.
Right.
I do. I kind of thought it was a foregone. Yeah, he's coaching next season. I really think they have to have a conversation. And listen, I do think John Tortorella is a good teacher, and there are benefits to having him in this role right now. I've said it a million times. When it's time to turn the corner, no thank you. Because you said in pregame, when has he won? He had that nice little sweep of Tampa, basically
that
a fluke.
Fun for all of us.
Yeah, it was cool. But all right, and then they lost the next round. It's not like they went on a run.
Right, yeah.
They did upset the best regular season team in 30 years at that point. But other than that, what has he really done since 04 in terms of winning? But I do think he's a good teacher for the most part. But I do think there's going to be more of a conversation going in, because you have to extend him if he's going to coach next year. Mm-hmm. And do you really want to do that? Now, maybe you do but the contract is got room for moving upstairs, becoming a consultant, whatever the hell title he's going to have, because I do think he stays in the organization.
For sure.
Unless there's a major falling out of John, we don't think it's maybe it's time. And he's like, F you, I'm a coach. I'm going to keep coaching. And well, no, you're not. All right. I do wonder if that's, that, I guess that could happen, but this might be more of a conversation than I thought a week ago, quite honestly.
Well, you said before the game, right? If Mike Sullivan gets fired in Pittsburgh, you cannot go into next season with John Tortorella as your head coach. There have been several very good head coaches that have become available during John Tortorella's tenure, and we've all just been nope, it's Torts' team, they're doing this, whatever. We've come to the end of it now. The end on paper is here. You can't let another, in my opinion, world-class NHL coach, because there aren't that many of them. Most of them I don't think move the needle at all. And if they do move the needle, they move it in the wrong direction. There are so few of them, I think, that actually have like a positive impact on the on-ice result. I think most of it's players, some coaches, they do something that gets more out of their guys. John Tortorella, I think, was one of these guys for a long time with a different generation of player. I don't know if he's the guy to do it now, but if you have a coach like Sullivan come onto the market, you can't just let him get hired by somebody else.
Now, and I do want to get back to Drysdale eventually, but we've kind of ticketed Sullivan as the next guy for a while.
Because it just makes a lot of sense.
It does just make sense. And like you and I were dead on in the summer they hired Torts. We're like, it's Tocchet or Torts. It's one or the other. Like, there's no other possible. I didn't even think there were
any other good ones.
I didn't think there were any other possible candidates, quite honestly. Now, I do want, like, depending on what happens in Vancouver, I know they like him, but like maybe Tocchet's available.
Could we not, though?
But
could we not?
Mike Sullivan, I do believe he's a great coach.
Yeah.
He is a Tortorella disciple, though. Is he the guy to like then maybe change the mindset of the team? Or is it like, well, Torts is still pulling the strings. Like, it's his guy.
Well, that's the thing. That's going to have to be a Danny Briere thing that he's going to have to get under control. If you hire a new coach, you got to let him be the coach. And while I know that Sullivan, came up under Torts, it does, like, Pittsburgh never striked me as a John Tortorella hockey team.
That's fair.
He doesn't seem to have John Tortorella vibes.
Maybe a little less stringent in terms of like matching his approach to what he has.
And I mean, like, to be fair, it's really hard to know because they've had the best player in the world on their team for his entire tenure. So, he had a little bit.
3 Hall of Famers in their prime.
Right. Like, he had a little bit of help there. But I do think he's probably a very good coach. And I do get the sense that he's a younger guy. Like, I just kind of feel like he would be more of a fit for bringing this team along to the next level than Torts would be. Like we've said it before, he did a very good job laying the foundation for what this organization is going to hopefully be moving forward. But I don't know that he's the guy to build the house on top of the foundation. That might be somebody else.
All right, one last thing on Drysdale, then I want to get to the super chats. Okay. It's time to get him on the top power play unit.
Even Al Morganti said it.
Now, this is like we said in pregame when I was like, I want to just see Michkov and TK play together, even if it doesn't result in them like winning more games or TK getting back on a scoring pace or like just because they are going, even if they're not regular line mates in the future, they are going to spend a lot of time on the ice together on power plays at the end of games when you just need that like super line to get the boost going, like whatever it is. I want to see them build a little bit of chemistry because they haven't spent a ton of time together. There is absolutely nothing at this point that could fix this broken power play. But Jamie Drysdale is hopefully the point man moving forward.
It's not going to be Risto.
It's not going to be Risto. He's 30. We almost traded him this year.
Yeah.
Like, I bet it's 50. It's 50-50 if he's here to start the season.
Like 70-30.
Like, Jamie Drysdale is going to be here.
Yeah.
Matvei Michkov is going to be here. Travis Konecny. Let's get these guys out on a power play for the final, whatever it is, 16 games of the year.
Yeah.
So that maybe they can build something for next season and for seasons 5 years in the future because they're all still going to be here by then. Like, put it together now and let's see if it can pay dividends in the future because this power play is the worst freaking thing that has ever existed. Again, there are 32 teams in the league. They rank 33rd over the last 3 years. This is not hyperbole. Because Arizona and Utah are technically separate entities,
I want this.
They rank dead last out of 32 teams. In fact, -1.
I want this stat like tattooed on my body. It's my favorite thing in the entire world.
I saw it tonight. I think they're at like
14. Below 0.
They're at like 14.8 or something over the last 3 years. And the next team is like a whole percentage point high. It's like insane. Or like maybe they're at 14.2 and the next team's at 15.8. Like they are so much worse. Not only are they 33rd, like in a league that's like separated like top 10 and middle 10 by like a 1.5. Like are a point below the next worst team out of all 33. It's really, really dreadful. So let's maybe start. Forget John Tortorella said today, well, Risto's our best point man. We don't really have anyone else to do it. Who cares who's the best right now?
No.
There is no best.
No, because if he's the best one,
he has 3 power play assists this year,
and you're scoring 0 power play goals ever, well, then presumably it can't get worse.
3.
So why not just,
all right,
throw the kid in there, see what happens.
Let's hit those super chats. All right, only 2 so far. Oh, we can do a tankathon spin later too. Yeah. All right, first here from JH says Floppy Fedotov, 5-hole Fetty, Ivan the Terrible, or hero of the draft. Many people are saying it.
Fetty driving the tank.
There is something to be said for this goaltending, really. I asked you before the game tonight, if they have to announce the MVP right now, who the hell is it? Like, who wins the Bobby Clark? And I guess it's TK.
I guess.
But is it?
No, I mean, not really.
Maybe it's the people, maybe it's at least the position group that is going to drive us to a top 5 pick. The goaltenders. Yeah. Maybe you're onto something here, JH. And one here from Obi-Wan. Bill, where'd you go to high school? I went to Clearview, class of 07.
Don't dox, Bill.
I'm old dog. Everyone knows where I live. My house, you can drive by my house and be like, that's Bill's house. It's very, very obvious. It's just funny. All right, we have a few minutes, so Brendan, let's do a tankathon spin before we wrap up tonight.
Feeling
the Flyers are still somehow in that 7-hole, right?
7 now.
Yeah, I should have looked. They've lost 5 straight. They have 0 of the last 10 points. They haven't. This is just like trying to move up in the standings. You can't move down either.
Can't move down either.
It's very funny how they're stuck here despite having a
winning some games.
0.0 points percentage over the last 5. But here we are at 7, looking to move up. Brenna, spin that wheel. All right, here we are. And they stay at 7. So 7 is where they got Matvei Michkov. Now it really feels as if 1 through 4 are where you need to get.
That's where you need to be.
That's really where you need to get.
Yeah,
so you need to
even
fall.
5's going to do it for us. Not this year.
I don't think it's this year for even top 5. I mean, I would deal with 5. That's fine.
I mean, I'll take it.
but
I think if this is not the draft where your franchise is going to be altered by winning the lottery. You're just going to get a solid player.
So there are 16 games left, Hinkle. This homestand in which they are 0-5, 2 games left. Tampa and Carolina remain. I mean, they're gonna go 0-7, right? They're playing better and losing.
Game losing streak coming.
It really feels like they're on that. I mean, look,
it's happening.
Tampa, Carolina, then you go to Tampa, you go to Washington, you go to Dallas.
Oh,
they do have Chicago. They go to Chicago.
Maybe they get one there, but that's past 10 games, right?
That would be what? 7, 8, 9, 10. That would be the 11th game. Would be Chicago. Then you're at the Leafs. They have Montreal at home. There's Buffalo at home, Nashville. There's 3.
Montreal at home. We'll be there.
Yeah. There's 3 games there where you would say those are equally bad teams. But I don't know. The Flyers stink too. And the goaltending's so bad. You can't, they could lose out. They could easily lose out.
I mean, it wouldn't be surprising. That's the thing. If the goaltending can't get it together a little bit, there's nothing they can do.
There is nothing they can do. And we appreciate those of you watching on TV. Head over to allphly.com for more of the show. And what's more, well, that's it. That is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers, presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. We will be back tomorrow. That's right. We have a 4 o'clock panel show for you. Kelly's going to be here. Charlie's going to be here. I can't wait to have the whole gang together. So make sure you subscribe right here on YouTube and hit that reminder bell so you never miss a live show. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers. And make sure you follow that podcast because deep down, we're still a podcast, damn it. Just search PHLY Flyers. All right, that's it. I am Bill. That is Kelly. Until tomorrow, let's go Tankathon.
We all silly like the mayor.